Good morning. It's Wednesday morning. It's 9 o'clock, and here I am, Norma Cowie, with Norma Talks. Interesting. Last night I was trying to think, okay, what do I talk about? Do I talk about this? Do I talk about that? What? And when a little voice said to me, you need to do the reading for next month. And I went, oh, of course, yes. So perfectly. So here we have the meeting. Now, I am going to explain something before I start. I am obviously coming down with a cold, a little bit of sore throat, nose is stuffy and wants to run sometimes. So I've been coughing. Also, yesterday I had some work beginning to get the work done on my teeth, which they wanted to do and let me know that a lot of what I'm experiencing is because of the last 2 years being in cancer treatment. Huh. Nice to know that information. Anyway, first thing she says to me, you've got dry mouth. And I said, yeah, lately it's been really, really bad. She said, oh yeah, that's a given. I went, I didn't know that. So it explains quite often why I get dry or cough or things like that when I talk a lot, which of course I normally do, but still, we don't really want that. But it's nice to explain that because I know many people watch consistently, and so if they watch this, they'll hear that. So I've got some liquid to drink, but hopefully my nose, which has been wanting to run today, won't be. Anyway, interesting month. Talk about up and down. We've had months up and down before, but look at this. We start off, excuse me, with the Empress. Joy, happy, everybody's contented. To me, at last, we're not even at the first yet. I would say by the third, we're into this. 5 of Cups. Feeling, what have we lost? Where is it gone? Where is it? All of those kind of things. Like, where is it? We know what we want, but in other words, people get upset or depressed or just kind of not really sure. That's going to last probably for about 4 days, which take us to around the 6th, maybe the 7th, when new news, new ideas, new awareness comes in. And for a moment, only a moment of time, people feel, oh, everything is going to be absolutely A-okay. Everything is coming together. That's really, really, really good. And I'm taking a big breath. So we're looking by about the 7th, 8th. We could even look up to the 10th, but I think by that time, this guy will be appearing. The devil really means emotional. That might say lower emotions, more like anger, frustration, all of that comes into control, comes into an awareness. And I just feel this is going to go on for some time. Maybe like we're going to be bombarded with neither news that's having a response or that somebody has done something and we're spellbound. And no, I think that something is going to happen and we're upset by hearing about it or the response of it. So that we actually, as we're coming into, so it's quite fast, the first 10 days of May. This, like, we kind of on a roller coaster. Everything's great, everything's not great. Oh, well, maybe it'd be fine. Oh, it's not fine. So I think that, like in Canada here, we just had an election and it was so funny. Sorry, but I'm smiling this morning because in the newspapers, they said this one party was a snowball, etc. And then we find out it's a very close what they call a minority government. There's not enough people to form a government. And that's what Canada seems to always live with. But I found it really interesting that the reports I was hearing was quite opposite to what was the real facts. It makes you just wonder just how much of we get that is in the real facts. So let me get back into my timing here. So I want to go to around the 10th. Now, things speed up a little bit because from around the 10th to 12th, 13th, because this is the law of acceptance. There are some things we have to accept. There's some things we can't change. So people kind of come into an acceptance level of what is. This is how it's happening. This is what's going on. And even though there is a frustration as we leave that 10th, 11th, 12th, go into the 13, well, we're not even in the 20s yet, but somewhere in there, we're going to be feeling that even though we're frustrated, there is a clear plan of how things are going to be working out. This particular symbol is dark because it is dark, but there's a lot of symbolism that says there's a plan. I get my finger right. There's a plan there. When you're building a building, which is what's happening here, you have a plan. And so there's a plan that comes out, or a plan that's being discussed, that I think that everyone begins to go, breathe, just breathe. Because after that, as we're leaving those teens and heading into the 20s, it's as though we're sailing home. Like all this emotionality, feeling restricted, not liking what's happening, getting frustrated, beyond. All of a sudden, we've got a plan. We know where we're heading. We know where we're going. And so basically, we're looking to the majority of the 20s, not quite at the end of the month, but the majority of them feeling that everything is in hand, that where we're heading is working well. It is bringing forward. It is coming. And then as we come into the end, not quite the end, let's say the 28th, even then, there's an awareness of security. There's an awareness of being clear. And I think that you'll find in the 20s, early 20s, 20 to about 28 probably, that the plan gets clearer and clearer. And the more people that get it and see it and figure out what's happening, they get happier and more aware that, that prosperity is there, that maybe it's not so much prosperity, but what they need, what they require, what they want is available. May not necessarily like what they have to do to get it, but it's there. And so communication is really important. So, and then finally, this is right around the end of that month, 30th, 31st, probably into the 29th, it feels like too. What are we doing? We're sitting, and all of a sudden we're not so confident. We're a little bit stubborn. We're a little bit set. We're looking out with more of a critical eye as to what's coming next, which of course at this point we don't know, because I don't have cards laid down for which would be what? June, because this is really May. Did I say April? Probably did. I mean, yeah, well, I'm excused for that. So let's take a look at what we've got here. Everything begins with thought. And we have two wand symbols. We have the 6, which I always say victory is assured because everything is lined up, they're heading. And we have 8, which says everything's in line and is going to be landing appropriately. So there is a lot of thinking, a lot of thought. Nothing says that it's going to land properly, but it's going to be in the air. There'll be a lot of elements about in the air. Cups, which is the value, whether you're happy or sad over what's lost, what's changing. I don't know that people really are, or I shouldn't say are, they're not changeable. It's like we don't like change too much, or we don't like rapid change. We don't like unexpected change. On the whole, I'm not saying everybody is like that, but it's how much change do you want? How much change do you have here? So there is that element of this is what we had, and but where are we going? We're not real clear on that. There's no problems with the sword cards represent problems. We have the pentacles, which represent the material affairs. We have a little bit of uncertainty because the yellow up in the top here is not that it's not yellow. So it's like working on. This is where we work on something, where we begin to work on manifesting it. But in the end, everything is there. This is abundance. This is plenty. You just have to go out and get it, but it's there. So there's lots of new things here. But the higher arcana is the ones where we learn really what's going on. So what do we got here? First of all, right at the beginning, so we had the Empress, abundance, plenty, awareness, feeling good about everything. So it just shows that as you're coming into the beginning of May, everyone's optimistic. But quickly, and that's what got me when I began to look at this, we get the Emperor, which is number 3 and number 4. Number 4, the Emperor, is the old, stayed, not moving. This is where everything bogs down. This is where, it's all new and fresh and everyone's up feeling really great. And then everything is like, deflated. Mostly it's just it's almost like the same old, same old. What's changed really? Now, deeper on in the month, we have the Hanged Man, which is the acceptance of what is. It's the coming to terms with the way things are. I think as humans, which I put myself in that category, what we do, we have a great propensity for making allowances. And even if we don't like it, it may take a little while, but we will go through it. But in this case, the devil symbol is where our emotions are in control. Now, luckily, it comes very near the end of the month and kind of gets a little bit overswept, but it's like we're needing to watch our feelings when we get towards the end of May. Just watch what's going on in an emotional way, because the only symbol that really talks about emotions in the lower arcana is this one, 5 of Cups, where we feel something is being lost. So something that has been maybe said is going to happen or is going to take place, or even an expectation that we may have from before disappears. And we're sad. And so that's where we use our minds to get out of all that emotionality and come into more this wonderful process. See, there's 3 symbols in here. I really, well, actually 4, but we'll put that one aside. These 3 symbols with the, moved the wrong way. I'm out of sequence. The main thing is this Empress. Now she was the first one up. Everything is fine. Everything is done. Everything is absolutely blooming. Full summer. There it is. Ideas are being manifested, put forward. Everything is copacetic. It's all working. And the rewards are all there for everybody. Whatever it is, communication, young or old, doesn't matter. It's there. Just have to go out and reach it. So that's what we got to hold on to. Where on the other hand, we've got all of this other emotional things going on. 5 of Cups, sad over what's changed or let go or not happening. And then the Emperor always is stubborn, set, wants it as it was. But the Devil is where the emotion comes. That was right at the end of the month. Tremendous emotional energy. Just not seeing, angry even. That's a tinderbox there. So it will be interesting to see what begins to happen as we leave May. And I had to think about that minute. What month do we leave? And leave May and head into June. And basically, I just deal with what comes up, because it is a little bit like a slippery slope in a way. maybe 1 minute everything is working fine, and the next minute it's not, and then the opposite. But it does seem like there's a long stretch in there where people are not really too sure of what's going on. But in the meantime, we have our philosophy of life. We create as we think, as we feel, support ourselves. There is an energy and force. And I was just thinking, I've been watching American Idol, and the singing this year is superlative. And a lot of Christian songs, or rejoicing of life songs, maybe I should say. So, and it's just being wonderful, because that's what we need when things are uncertain, when things are not really sure. I don't personally have a judgment, or that's not the correct word, but how you get a sense of completion or belonging. I think everybody finds that for themselves, and that's part of the personal journey we're on. But there really is an energy and a force. And when you hear great singers sing songs, embracing that power, however you call it, there's something that touches you. There's something that comes inside that lifts you up and has you realize it's not the end. I mean, I know that because I've gone through those experiences, and I just can't sing really well. I used to be able to sing. I even sang for a wee while in a little trio. We went out and entertained seniors. Oh, that could be me listening now. But it was like I always wanted to sing. I love singing. So it's like, do what you got to do to make your life work right now. Because I think if you're going to rely on what the radio says, the TV says, what they say coming down, and I think by the looks of this, it could change. It could change quickly. 1 minute they're going to say this, then the next minute that. So as an individual, you've got to remember there's a bigger picture here. There's a bigger love source. There's a bigger sense that supports you as an individual. And I know we all get loped together as being part of a country or a community or whatever. But the reality, what is our belief system? What do we believe? I have heart, as I said, when I see the Empress, the Six of Wands, and the 10 of Pentacles. All is not lost, because the Eight of Wands even says new things are coming in. It's just there's a lot of emotions towards the end of May, lot, and it feels heavy to me. So that's all I can do is say that. Anyway, that's my reading for May on this day of the 30th of April, as we leave April and move on. So when we wake up tomorrow morning, we will wake up to the Empress, which is abundance on all levels. So enjoy your abundance, enjoy the way that it is. And let's see, we're at Wednesday. Okay, so Sunday thought coming on Sunday morning. And and then Monday night is mental mind treatments. And I'm just so happy they're working, except I keep freezing the broadcast. Luckily, we got through everybody just before I froze, or close to everybody before I froze. So anyway, that's part of the life when things aren't quite working the way that you want. I want to wish you a great day. I want and trust you'll enjoy every moment of it. So enjoy, and bye for now.